Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being a show where I talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about Resident Alien Season 4, Episode 2. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. So I'm going to kind of do this weirdly enough, because obviously the intro of the cold opening to the episode and the ending of the episode tie in together, but the whole opening I thought was kind of interesting tie-in, because it's like, right, that's the first time like the general and her dad saw aliens all those years ago, and then there were some pieces from like the ship or whatever, some devices that fell off and one landed on a beach, and then we tell in the episode. So do correct me if I'm crazy, because the beginning thing said 52 years ago, right? But then we got to the end of the episode and it said 52 years as well. Not unless I misread the first number, but I had to rewind. I read the second number at the end of the episode saying 52. I was like, did that mean 52 days? And I rewound. I was like, no, it says 52 years ago in Maine. So we see Linda Hamilton's character, the general, picking it up. So my brain immediately was like, wait, is that supposed to be like Linda Hamilton, like playing, obviously, like a younger version of the character, like maybe in her adult years? But I'm like, no, that wouldn't make sense, because the character would still be a kid at the time. So that's why I was like, did I get the number from like the beginning of the episode wrong? So I was like, is that supposed to imply she's older than what we thought? But then I was like, no, because she still would have been a kid at the same age. So I was like, not unless that's Linda Hamilton playing General McAllister's mom. So like, not unless that was what. Do correct me in the comments down below if I'm just sounding like a crazy lunatic, but I didn't go back to rewatch the intro to make sure the number did say 52 years ago, because it would make sense, because I'm like, no one found that in much longer time. So like the time frame, it feels like this probably like the next day or maybe like a couple weeks later. That's why I'm like, I'm wondering if that's supposed to be her playing her, like I said, Linda Hamilton's playing General McAllister's like mom. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Like I said, if I am, just do correct me in the comments down below, and don't feel afraid. You can go ahead and laugh at me for my stupidity. So yeah, putting all that aside, I was curious to see how that all ties in, but we'll talk about that when I go throughout the episode. But starting off, we're immediately picking up where the last episode left off, and a big part of this episode is Harry's in denial. He's lying to himself, being like, no, I could have dealt with that manticore. And it's like, no. And Alsa's like, in fact, you were the first one out the door. It's like, if we didn't come immediately, you would have driven off without us. So it's like, wow, you lost your powers. But he's like, no, I didn't lose my powers. I'm losing like the ability to turn in. It's not my powers I lost. That's me. I'm not able to turn back into me. He's like, it's no different from you being kind of the annoying sass person that you are. It's kind of written in your DNA. And also it's like, yeah, but he's like, oh, they did experiments to us. He's like, you wouldn't even believe what they've done to me. And Max is like, probed you in your butt or whatever. He's like, what? That's cliche and you're an idiot. But yes, right up the butt. He's like, and also he says, but I'm so glad that you were able to, you pretended not to know the manticore. That was the manticore, not me the entire time. I was like, yeah, I really nailed that performance. And he's like, you didn't realize was it me? She's like, I'm sorry, he looked exactly like you. It is the effed up thing of like, oh, you're supposed to be my best friend. And the actress and the actor who plays Max and the actress who plays Sahar, you could see them in the background busting up. Like you see them like smiles on their face, where I'm like, I think that's them breaking a little bit. And I think they decided to keep that. I mean, you can make the argument that's just, the characters, but it felt like, especially the actress who plays Sahar, you see her kind of turn to the side, because I think she's smiling too much. She's like, right, but I think they were like, screw it, we're going to keep it. We're going to keep it so good. It's definitely a type of show I can definitely see, like, yeah, there's probably a lot of like breaks like that, but it felt like that was both of them kind of breaking a little bit, and I think she was breaking the most, as if she had to turn away to be like, I need to stop smiling so much. It's actually really adorable. Also, Bridget ends up staying with, well, I guess with Sahara. It makes a lot of sense, considering like Sahara was kind of mama for a while, because Bridget's not with Max. I wonder, are they going to like split the difference, kind of do a co-parenting thing, which they kind of did last season? Are they going to kind of do that again this season? But it's more like, yeah, Bridget's there to kind of protect you. Like, how is that? How are they going to like represent that in the show? I'm curious. Like I said, I'm sure it's going to go back to a more co-parenting type of operation, like it kind of pseudo did, even though like Sahar took over main parenting duties last season. I'm sure the same thing applies this season. But breaking down the multiple storylines that are kind of happening in this episode, Harry has to stay with Darcy and Asta as he's figuring all this stuff out because he's become so human. He gets tired. Stuff that used to like be his jam as an alien isn't sitting well. So like the whole milk not working thing, I was like, well, I would assume if you were lactose intolerant, that wouldn't be like an issue. It wouldn't hit you that immediate. But I guess like whatever it is, like the thing, well, because I guess it's like it was made for his human constitution and his alien constitution, and his human constitution now rejects it immediately. Whatever the case may be, he's a big old scaredy cat and he doesn't even want to sleep alone. He's sleeping with Asta, who has to balance babysitting Harry. She always kind of has, but even more so now because he's even more vulnerable and pathetic. Plus, they've got like a literal head chomping alien after them. Also has to deal with keeping Darcy from running after and going seeing Daisy as much as possible. I thought it was interesting because it never even crossed my mind because I did not remember that story beat. Was Asta bringing up the whole like, right, Darcy's need to feel special to do something important. And it's like, right, you're kind of like, the new thing for you now is Daisy. Daisy kind of feels that, and Darcy's like, no, it's not really that. But I'm wondering if on some level that is. I mean, we know Darcy also has a very complicated relationship with her parents. Let's face it, her parents suck. So I'm wondering if there's a little bit of like trying to make up for her own. I mean, that's also why she wants to be special, because she's tired of like being looked down upon by other people. More so herself as well, but definitely wants to kind of show up her parents and do something great and amazing. But I think there's also the element of my parents weren't great. They're kind of douchebags and I want to kind of do better than them. And I have this real connection with this child. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out for Darcy's arc this season. Asta also has to deal with Joseph showing up at her job and serenading her with a kid who plays violin that he found on Craigslist. I love that whole bit of just like the kid just still following them and playing the music, and her kind of having to break up with him when he's literally trying to propose to her out of nowhere. It's like, so I should have figured as much over that month period in between season 3's finale and the season 4 premiere that, hey, a lot of stuff happened of like, there were occasional hookups. It wasn't just that wasn't like the only time they've hooked up repeatedly. And I guess I should have figured as much last episode, but I don't think I really gave it as much thought. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. But yeah, he wants to like be with her. And I love the whole thing of him being like, I'm not the one that's half human, Asta. You are. Like, or like, I'm not the one that's half alien or monster or whatever. Like, it's you. Turning around on her. But later on, they need his help because Harry's like, well, if anyone's going to know how to reverse what the Greys did to me, it'd probably be Joseph. But he also was completely and utterly disgusted by her hooking up with Joseph, which I get it. This guy is your mortal enemy, and his people, even though the Greys don't count him as one of them, even being half Grey, he's an abomination, so they just used him. So it's for a lack of a better term, it's a gray area. But the fact is, it's like, yeah, it's gotta suck when like your best friend sleeps with your mortal enemy. That's some juicy drama in its own right. In any other crazy, even in the most normal of circumstances, and then you add in like the crazy science fictional elements to it, just to heighten the like absurdity of it all. But yeah, he is so delusional on wanting to be with Asta. Joseph's like, okay, I'm gonna fight the Manticore and like the Mantis, and I'm going to like win your love, and he gets his ass handed to him. Legitimately, I don't know why the makeup prosthetics, it's so weird. It didn't bother me as much when we first see him, but when he has the band-aids covering it, it makes me queasy. I don't know why I didn't have as much as a problem with the first time we saw it, but when we see him near the end of the episode with the bandages kind of pulling his flesh together, that made my skin crawl. It's weird what kind of disturbs me and what doesn't. Obviously going on and on about like, yeah, it was a tough battle, it was a back and forth, but yeah, like he got a good hit on me and I feigned death for a tactical retreat, and it's like, oh, so you play dead and then you shit yourself. He's like, well, a good strategy. And Harry's like, no, that strategy he's saying is so like well known in space. It's like, no, that's complete and utter horse shit. And then it's like, yeah, and he proceeded to pack everything. It's like, whoa. He beat you and then had time to pack. It's like, well, yes, he's a very proficient packer. So he knew how to pack stuff very proficiently and leave. So, but he doesn't know how to rectify Harry's situation. So it's like, well, you're going to need a gray. Well, Harry knows a gray that's here on Earth, and that's Bruce, which is kind of effed up and sad because, like, well, I didn't remember that whole angle of like, oh yeah, grays can't survive on Earth. Like, that's not our first time hearing that. I'm sure it's not, but I did not remember that angle to it. So they have to find Bruce before he dies. Asta goes on the road trip. I thought Darcy was making an excuse not to go with them so that she could. I mean, it probably works out in her favor because there's a whole bunch of hotels that she is probably banned from. But then there's also the element of, well, yeah, I can also use this as an excuse while Asta's not around to go see Daisy like she does, and she asks Kayla like, yeah, don't tell Asta about this, which is once again sweet and endearing, but that will probably come back to bite her in the end. She will ultimately have to let the child go when it comes to like eventually returning Daisy to Kate and Ben. But I think there's also like, she could play the godmother role. Didn't they set that up last season that she was going to be kind of the godmother? That might be like me making up stuff. So it could still be involved in Daisy's life, but the problem is like she's going to want to be a lot more involved, and that's probably going to cause complicated issues between Kate and her, especially because that came up in season 2 where like Kate and her actually did become friends, but then like the whole like her and Ben, that kind of made that awkward. So I don't know. We'll see if like Darcy ends up overstepping her boundaries or something. The more that storyline continues, or even with the situation being what it is now, like will she continue to overstay her, like overreach her boundaries? I think Kayla and them are probably going to be a lot more okay with it. But the problem is like she's probably going to end up drawing too much negative attention, like drawing people to where Daisy is, and that probably will be a problem later on. Like I said, I think the story arc is going to end with her having to finally let Daisy go. Maybe specifically when she goes back to Ben and Kate. I would assume not, but like I said, pretty early on in the season. We'll have to wait to see how everything plays out going forward in that regard. But hitting up Vegas, they run into Bruce. Bruce seems like, hey, I'm okay. But it's like, no, you're so drunk, you're not feeling your body melting. It's like, oh yeah, my foot fell off, my arm ripped off. So now you're turning into a puddle of gray alien, and informs Asta, we can't do anything about the orbs that are coming after Kate. Because, Harry also said, the Greys, like, they love kidnapping children. Why? Who knows? But they're not going to give up until they find, like, they do all this for a reason. And I guess it's like, once they bagged and tagged a certain one, it's like, we're not going to just let you go in a twisted way. They're looking at the humans as cattle, obviously. So it's like, right, we got you tagged, and we've invested something in you, and you're a key component to what we're doing. Even one single child can't slip our vein. It could also be a thing of, let's not forget, Max is special too. So it could be a situation of, oh, just like they took Robert, like it could be a thing of Max is special, so maybe there's something special about his sister too. Like there could be an angle to that as well. That could be significant. Because that would beg the question, like Max can see aliens, so would... I'm trying to remember if like Peter can. I don't remember if we've ever been in a situation where maybe they probably have showcased that, and I don't remember because, I mean, not Peter, but his son. Because I made sure to remember everyone's names now. The son's name is Robert. The alien hunter is Peter, but Peter can see aliens. Maybe Robert can too. And maybe that, once again, that has something to do with the experiments. Whatever the case may be, Asta couldn't get any help, and neither technically did Harry, because it turns out from Bruce that, which I love the whole like bit of just like rubbing his slimy hand all over Harry's mouth and then in his mouth. But basically, they've always been jealous of kind of the abilities and powers of Harry's species, and so they extracted that from his DNA. So for all intents and purposes, he's basically a human now. And the only way he could get back his powers and stuff is if he gives the Grey something they want. He immediately was like, hey, I'm going to scoop you into this bag. We're going to turn this traitor over to the Greys, which is super messed up that like in Bruce's dying moments is like, oh, I'll try to betray you. I'm sorry about that. Um, my immediate thought was, oh my god, Harry's gonna do the shitty thing of he's gonna get um Daisy and give her to the Greys, which still could be a future story point where he's so desperate that's where he goes. But I thought that was immediately where it was going to go. In fact, the whole Jennifer, I think I said Jennifer instead of General. General McAllister storyline of the device she picks up. That's the thing that Bruce was whispering about. I was like, oh, interesting. Okay. Because like I said, I was so certain it was going to be about Daisy. Once again, still could be a thread they pull on later on where he becomes so desperate that he's willing to do that. Harry has proven time and time again to be selfish. He has moments of clarity where he recognizes the error of his ways and is a little more selfless. But yeah, more often than not, he can be a selfish prick, especially because he doesn't want to be more human and he's scared to be human. But his unwillingness to admit that he's afraid and that he's not okay. Then we have the Asta and Joseph storyline continuation or conclusion where Asta was like, right, what I did to you, basically using you to get what I want, wasn't right. Because you still want to be with me, but it's like, no, you're not. You don't love me. It's just you're afraid. You're reacting out of fear. You're in a world you don't really know. You've basically been ostracized from the people that you did know. And granted, they never showed you the greatest respect or really appreciated you or acknowledged you because they look at you as lesser than because you're not like a full gray. And so he's kind of on his own and it's like, you're right, you just kind of want to latch on to someone. But for him, it's like, you made me feel like I could be good. And he's like, I'm afraid like who I'm going to be without you. And she's like, yeah, I'm the same way. You made me feel good too and want to be good. So, but that good is in us. It's just a matter of us accessing it ourselves. And so he does something good. He lets Ben and Kate know, hey, I don't know where your child is exactly, but I know that they're somewhere on Earth. And his whole not being able to spell sincerely. So it's interesting how that all ties together because Kate and Ben went into the flower store to get info about Joseph, but then like Ben tried to like play like bad cop and oh, I smashed his face. Oh, I thought it was going to be plastic. And she's like, it's okay. I've got your card on file and I'll just charge it there. It's like, oh, it's interesting. Why haven't you come to get flowers for your wife like you used to? And Kate's like, yeah, about that. And she's like, oh, boy, Ben, you really stepped into it. Man, you're just like, you're the perpetual punching bag in the show because you had to get it from Liv earlier in the episode because she's like, yo, you know about Joseph. He's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. She's like, you literally were in my backseat. You broke into my car with that Nixon mask because I've seen you wear that Nixon mask before using the exact same voice that sounded like yours. I also recognize your wedding ring. He's like, right, wedding ring? I don't even have that. I don't even where it is. And then immediately drops it on the floor. It's like, dude, you're so bad at this. But it's like you being so bad at being a terrible liar is actually really endearing because it just shows how much of a good person you are, And it was gotta also give props to Liv for being like, hey, let me follow up on this. She followed them into after they left the flower shop and ended up getting more info because she ends up finding out, oh, Joseph was in here getting some cards and flowers. And it's like, hey, he wrote a whole bunch of them sincerely and all this and messing it up. And it's like, oh my God, he's in love. Granted, they don't find out about the Asta of it all, but it's still, that'll probably be a thread they pull on eventually when they're like, wait, Asta's connected to Joseph, and maybe Liv will connect Asta about it. Like, wait, did you know that Joseph, he's not a good guy, he's an alien? And then like Asta's like, what? I had no idea. And she'll probably be revealed to be the terrible liar. It's like, wait, you knew? So that might be a whole rigmarole in itself. Staying on Joseph really quickly, I don't know if that's in reference to anything else. Him doing the whole thumb like, oh, I'm on the road again. It felt very Hulk-esque, Marvel Hulk regards. And I'm like, I don't know if that's what that's in reference to. Because maybe even the Hulk doing that is in reference to something else that I'm just not aware of. Like my immediate pop cultural like zeitgeist like thing that I recognize made me think of like the Hulk first. I don't know if that's like a trope pulled from something else, but just him just not getting like anyone picking him up. I thought at the end like, oh, Liv is going to show, like the car that's going to pull up is going to be Liv's or something. Like that's what I thought it was. Ended up not being the case. He's just walking and leaving Patience. So whether, I doubt it's the last we will see of him, but it's interesting that while Liv and Mike were looking for him as well, Ben and Kate don't have as much reason to look for him anymore. And granted, will they tell Liv what they learned? Well, we'll have to wait to see. But the whole Hunter with his head missing, the one that the Mantic killed last episode, that guy got found, but he's in like Lena's jurisdiction. And so she comes to see Mike, who is back at work and still denouncing and not believing if there was an alien. Because he brings up something interesting. He's like, if Joseph was, and if we say aliens exist, if Joseph was the alien that could chew someone's head off, why would he shoot at us? And it's like, to be fair, yeah, his circumstances are different. So, but for all Liv can hear, it's like, wait, you said if. You're willing to like even like entertain what ifs about aliens. I love her sit down scene with Lena and Mike, and they're having this whole conversation about like, oh yeah, like woman that died and her cat's eating her body. But like, oh, you want some fries? And she's like, no, I'm good. And then Lena's like, oh yeah, we'll investigate the mountain area, the one where Peter's hiding at, or rather she's hiding Peter out of. She's like, no, you don't have to investigate. I love that she turned that around on Lena. It's like, I'll handle it myself. She's like, no, that's sweet, but that's too much for one cop to handle. She goes, oh, I get it. It's because I'm a woman. It's like, oh, girls, we're supposed to have each other's back. It's disappointed, which my brain immediately went to the whole like Kevin Sorbo, Hercules, disappointed. I don't know if that was what that is, but I can't have disappointed like on its own and like someone just being disappointed. I can't not now think, because like I only know that because like years ago I watched a video where someone referenced that and included a clip of it. I was like, that's hilarious. So now that's like somewhere locked in my brain that the moment she said disappointed, that's immediately what came to mind. And I love that Mike immediately followed her later when she went to go try and move Peter and found out about him being the cyborg he is, and is like, hey, this is pretty dope. This is, perfectly fine with the cyborg thing, knowing a shady like branch of the government is behind this, but still would not believe in aliens, which, hey, Peter's like, I was exactly the same way, but there's certain aspects about life, like love, something we can't really personify, but we still like believe in it. But even things with our own eyes, we refuse to believe. And so it's like, right, the alien, because he's thinking like maybe like, oh, maybe the government grabbed up that alien, or maybe there's another reason why they weren't in the bag. I didn't even, once again, I didn't remember them melting in Earth's atmosphere. So when Mike goes back, he finds the goo in the bag. It's like, oh, they didn't get the alien, or I thought like maybe the Greys came to get it, or maybe like or the government snatched up that Grey. It's like, no, it just died in the bag, just like Bruce did. Well, not just like Bruce, but melted like Bruce did. So now he's fully believing like, yo, I think I believe in aliens now. So nice progress on that front. Now you've got Mike more on your side. But Mike is the conspiracy and wackadoo guy. Now that he believes in aliens, God knows what the hell that's going to do to him. Now that he like fully believes and isn't second guessing himself like previously, he's probably going to be a little more wackadoo with some of like his theories about everything. So we'll have to wait to see how that progresses as things play out. But I didn't talk about it much. The device that Harry's trying to retrieve, he's like, yeah, it was a device that the Greys wanted to use to try and destroy his planet, which he's like, I get the dangers of that, but if it means getting my powers back, it is kind of selfish that you're willing to do that. A device that will probably also could be used on Earth when they're done getting what they need from it. So lots and lots of interesting threads all around, because the Manticore, where am I getting the name Manticore from? That's not it. It's just kind of the mantis, or where am I getting Manticore from? I don't remember. I don't think that's not its name in this, is it? It's like the Mantid, right? Yeah, it's the Mantid and not Manticore, but I'm like, where am I getting Manticore from? But the Mantid ended up getting a new body this episode. He wanted to keep Harry's appearance, but it's like, nah. So he's all got a new form, which that's another body for everyone to kind of investigate. So it's going to be interesting to see where all these threads lead these different storylines and how they eventually will culminate it, or which ones will culminate and which ones will kind of still be so adjacent, so close but adjacent. It's going to be interesting to see what the next episode has in store for us with all of this. But really, that's all I wanted to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.